Alright guys, Chad back with you here on the RC Miles and More channel, and let's take a look at the continuation of really the last video, which is Litchi's 1.17 update and how it works with the current Mavic firmware, which is the 0.09 firmware. Now, about a month ago, if you go on to Litchi's Facebook page, they basically explain that with the current versions of the firmware for the Mavic Pro, which was the 0.08, that you are obviously required to log in to unlock your altitude and distance limitations that DJI was going to enforce on you. They said that the upcoming Litchi version will automatically unlock restrictions without having to log in to DJI, except if you fly in China. And there's 100 or so comments on here about how great it is and we can't wait and everything else like that. Well, a couple days ago, version 1.17 was released, and I did do the update, and it explains here that this is compatible with version firmware 1.03.08 or higher, which is the key question that I'm thinking might be an issue that I'm running into. And it explains that users in China are required to activate Litchi by logging into their DJI account at least every 3 months. Now this can be done with Litchi. Outside of China, Litchi will automatically activate the application without requiring the user to log in with Litchi or DJI Go. There's also some bug improvements and fixes and everything else like that. So I recently updated my Mavic firmware to the newest version, which is 0.09, and I have the Litchi downloaded and I'm having issues. There's still a requirement to go into your Go4 app and log in first in order to unlock the no-fly zones. Not sure exactly what's going on. In fact, when I try to even turn the geo system on or off in Litchi, it won't even work. And I'll show you all that. As well as the app is disconnecting and everything else, which is very odd because Litchi usually has, in my case, I've never found them to put out a bad app. So I'm not sure exactly what is going on with this. Perhaps some of you who have not upgraded firmware for a long time can maybe try downloading this update if you are already a Litchi user and see if you can bypass all that stuff. It could just be a chain of events where, since I've already signed in and updated my DJI aircraft, that it's just not going to do anything for me. But it'd be interesting to find out that if you haven't gone through and done any updates since they started this whole updating the no-fly zone spook chase, and then nothing actually changed for us, if you can just fire up Litchi if you're in a questionable area and be able to take off without any issue or any logging in or anything like that. So we'll take a look here exactly at what was going on with my aircraft, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Alright guys, the first thing I did here was make sure that Litchi and everything else was closed, and then I went into the actual Go4 app to verify that I was indeed showing no fly and could not take off, as you can see there at the top of the screen. Now, as I said before, I'm already logged into the account. you can see right here it pops up that it has the Galleon Municipal already saved in my database, so maybe this is part of the issue. Not sure, need some clarification on that. And if we go here, we can see we are running the newest 1.17 and the firmware 1.03.09, which is all of the current firmware. Now if we go down here and we see enable Geosystem, can't turn it off. What's going on with this, Litchi? Does not work. In fact, the only way to get it to let me to launch was to go back into DJI Go 4 and unlock the Geosystem and restriction myself. Now, of course, you can see that I have it unlocked and I am able to take off and fly. So I don't quite know what's going on with this. It's something that we need to contact Litchi about and see what is going on, because it explicitly says this in their changelog. So in order to be as thorough as possible, I wanted to try doing some different things. So I signed out of my DJI Go 4 account and went back into Litchi. And it popped up and I was actually able to fly. At least so I thought. I was still getting this weird thing where it would not allow me to totally turn off the Geosystem button. And when I pulled up my map, I wasn't getting any kind of errors or anything at all. Litchi doesn't really overlay any no-fly zones or anything, but everything seemed pretty good. So I went back into my Go 4 account and I signed in, and then I went to my unlocked list and enabled my unlocking code, and you can see that immediately it came up cannot take off, whether the code was enabled or disabled. So then I went back into Litchi here, and as you can see, it pops up and says cannot take off. So even trying to disable the account, unlock the account, sign out, whatever, still was having those issues. Back into the Go 4 app here, signed out again. You can see I'm completely signed out of the account. Went back into Litchi, and cannot take off was still there. So trying to trick it either way, backdoor, nothing worked. So seems like they're not 100% set on exactly what's going on here with unlocking the no-fly zones. So it could just be a matter of fact that everything is just too far gone and there's just too many things to turn on and off and everything else. Maybe if I were to revert back firmwares or reset my aircraft and start all over again, I might be able to get this to work. Just need more instructions from Litchi really to kind of figure this out. Again, I say if you have not upgraded to a 0.09 firmware, maybe to download this update for Litchi and give it a shot. I found out that my disconnect issues were a bad lightning cable. It was not that or the beta version of iOS 11 that I'm actually running on my iPad Pro. So I do think that the way that they changed the geo system, where it's not a global turn on and off, as you can see in the Go 4 app, you can just turn off your individual unlock zones. Somehow all that stuff is hard-coded into the flight controller itself. It has to be. And it looks like DJI released something once they maybe caught wind of what Litchi was going to do, and kind of backdoored them into not being able to do this. Whether you agree with it or not, it just is the way it is. But I'll keep playing with it and testing it, and encourage all of you to do the same and provide your feedback. So thanks a lot, guys. We'll talk to you later.